in front shot. Oh my!
Here to celebrate Georgetown! The Georgetown Raiders are Buckland Cup champions!
The Trenton Golden Hawks, the R7 Hewitt Cup champions, are going to Coburn.
Back to Minerva. Shot scores! And the Coburn Cougars are the Royal Bank Cup champions!
Round one concluded earlier this week. Who was left standing to fight another day? We've got all the highlights coming up. This is the OJ Today. Hey folks, I'm Alex Bastiavansky. On this week's show, we'll get you up to date on who advanced to the conference semifinals. Some of the series ended up being absolutely incredible. Also, Alan Corkum, OJ broadcaster for Cogeco Television, will join me to discuss what went down in all the series. But first, the highlights. And when we did our playoff preview 2 weeks ago, Mississauga Chargers head coach Joe Washkaruk and I described the Oakville Junior Canadians matchup as the series of death. Two highly talented squads with very little separating them. And that series definitely lived up to the hype. OJ Highlights now, brought to you by Cool Sports, official apparel provider to the OJHL. So we pick it up in Game 5. Canadians leading the series 2-1 at this point. First period, all Blades, leading 1-0 in the first. 5-on-3 power play. Zach Bramwell scores, but a bigger concern for the Habs, Dalton Ewing injured on the play. He would be out for the rest of the series. Christian Mattiacci replaces him. The Blades continue to pounce. Power play. Spencer Kirsten makes it 3-0 for Oakville. Right there. Always tough coming into a game ice cold, but Mattiacci did what he could. Oakville thought they had a sure goal here. Christian shuts the front door. Second period, Matt Hyami, the quick shot that catches the keeper by surprise. In it goes. Not looking good for the JRCs, down 4-0 at that point. They do show some grit though. Anton Trublin from the point. Here it comes. Seeing eye shot that beats Chris Elliott, and that makes it a 4-1 game. And then the puck takes a wicked bounce off of Nolan Regan here. In it goes, and a comeback was brewing as the Habs cut the deficit in half to 4-2. Not to be on this day though. Anthony Aguano had a huge series for the Blades. Just goes for a skate here, draws all the attention, feeds Spencer Kirsten. 5-2 Oakville, and then the icing on the cake. Kirsten again, 2 minutes later, he will split the wickets on Mattiacci. All Blades on this day as they take it 6-2 to knock the series up at 2 games apiece. Okay, Game 4, Markham Newmarket. Canes leading the series 2-1 at this point. A defensive gem was this one. First period, Canes on the rush. Nate McDonald holding firm, though, between the pipes. Second frame, Newmarket coming oh so close on the power play. Cole Thiessen, ping, ringing it off the iron, though. Soon after, Hurricanes 3-on-2. McDonald sees it all the way, though, snags the shot. Then with 2 seconds left in the period.
Verge on the puck. It goes back to Maillet. Scores! Scores with 2.6 seconds to go. There was a screen in front. Back it goes, and number 5 threads the needle.
Anthony Regan with the call. That was all the scoring in this one. Royals hold on for the 1-0 win to even the series at 2 apiece. Wellington, Pickering, Game 4. Dukes up 2-1 in the series. What a game. First period, Andrew Hughes, Roof Daddy to make it 1-0 Panthers. Dustin McFall will nearly make it 2. Soon after, Tyler Richardson, the great work to slide over and deny the chance. Ethan Langevin, all-world for the Cats in this game between the posts. 2 top 5 nominees here. First, sprawling across to make 2 sweet saves on the doorstep. This one was even better, though. Colin Doyle, how does he get this open is the real question. Langevin makes the question moot, however. Look at this save. Take another look. One of the best we've seen all year. His voice did go up an octave after that stop, though. Pickering goes up by a deuce in the second frame. Jason Roach, with the man advantage, fires it past Tyler Richardson. Panthers lead 2-0 after 2. The Dukes come back in the third, though. Ben Evans gets it started. The tip out front, and look at how fresh that ice is. There's a lot of time left for the Dukes to work with, and they would need nearly all of it. 56 seconds left. Extra attacker out. Zach Ewens the bomb from the point, all tied up at 2. So these guys were going to overtime. And the Cats nearly grabbed the winner here. Pulias point blank. Richardson says, no way though. Midway through the first OT, however.
Nearly had a step around McFall there, but he stops up, sends it across, and reading that well is Jacob Roach. Maybe a 2-on-1 here with Hughes. Roach has it. He holds on to it, has some room in the slot, scores! Jacob Roach! And the Panthers have tied the series!
Great call by Alex Bloomfield. Pickering wins it 3-2 in overtime, and they tie the series up 2-2, heading back to Wellington for Game 5. Okay, some OJ alumni news. Zach Hyman will be hosting his first ever Celebrity Golf Classic coming up this summer, and it takes place Monday, July 30th at Lebovic Golf Course in Aurora, in support of several charities, including Sick Kids Oncology and OJHL Foundation. Meet lots of current and former Maple Leafs, lunch, cocktails, dinner included. ZachHyman.com for more information. The Scotiabank fan favorite, the top 10 remains the same right now. Jakubowski, Jackson Camp, Cal Walker, Jack Ricketts of Oakville, and Justin Paul for the Georgetown Raiders. Ryan Bazana of Whitby, Max Stewart of Trenton, Tiger McDonald also of the Golden Hawks, and from the Wellington Dukes, Jonah Capriotti, great season between the pipes, and Mitch Mendonca. Head to OJHL.ca to cast your vote. OJ Trivia, who is hosting the 2018 RBC? Who is it? It's out west. First correct answer to R. Morocco at the OJHL.ca wins an OJ prize pack. Hey folks, welcome back to the OJ Today. Well, the Battle of York Region was turning out to be one of the best series of the opening round. Markham had finished the regular season on a real downer, actually, losing 7 of their last 10. So some may have assumed the high-flying Hurricanes would have no trouble handling the Royals. But the blue and white stepped things up at the right time, and through 4 games, had given Newmarket all they could handle. Tied 2 games apiece at this point. Game 5 was a doozy. Cole Thiessen gets the Canes on the board in the first, right off the draw, snaps it past Nate McDonald. Newmarket drawing first blood. Second stanza, they'd add to it. Kristen Chella centers for Adam Trotman. Booyah! Newmarket looked good, up by a deuce, but hold on. The maddest of mad scrambles here in front of Fraser Kirk. This is like the movie Titanic. It just seems to go on forever. Finally, Justin Bennett knocks it in to cut the deficit to 2-1. Third period, Markham knots it up. Anthony Luciani does all the hard work. Digging deep, gets it to Jacob Cuffley, and the Royals tie it up at 2 apiece. Crazy game, as I mentioned. Back and forth they go. Hurricanes on the power play. Christian DiDonato through a screen, and he restores the Newmarket lead. It was 3-2. Late in the period, though, under 2 to go, Lions. But again, Luciani playing the setup man well, and this one was going to overtime.
And the Hurricanes have it. Iarolo when the slot shots, a rebound, scores! 10 seconds on the power play is all it takes, and the Hurricanes take Game 5.
Arena Matucci with the great call. That gave the Canes a chance to clinch with the win 2 days later at home. Game 6, how happy is Newmarket to have Alexi Arulo back in the lineup? He makes it 1-0 in the first period. Second frame, he keeps rolling. IA right on the doorstep, pounces on the rebound. Canes looking good, up 2-0. And then the coup de grace, Arulo with the natural hat trick with the finish right there. You missed the last couple of weeks of the regular season plus game 1 of this series, but makes a triumphant return. Hurricanes take the game 3-0. And the series 4 games to 2. Kudos to Markham, though. Great series, and it really could have gone either way. Okay, the Golden Hawks were hanging in there against Aurora, down 3-1 in the series. First period, 17 seconds in, Rina Mansurov makes it 1-0 for the Cats. Second period now, the original stop is made by Bradley Van Schubert. Christopher Karabassis, the former Mississauga Charger, makes it a tie game. Third period was wild. Max Ewart spins off his man, fires it on goal, and yeah, good idea. Hawks go up 2-1. Then Tiger McDonald from a ridiculous angle here plays the bank shot off Van Schubert. Hawks looking good, up 3-1. This is a crazy finish, though. Aurora net empty, a minute 25 remaining. Jake Bricknell beats the screen Will Roski, and it's 3-2 Hawks, then with 5 seconds left.
Front. Oh, just up the end of the stick. Back on the right point, Missy. Missy, fire shot. Score! What a goal! They tie it with 5 seconds. What a goal! 5 seconds remaining.
And that's led to overtime.
Back at the point, there's a shot. They score! They're still alive. Stephen Elliott wins it in overtime with 9:07 remaining.
Kevin Dean with 2 great calls. This one was headed to Game 6 back in Trenton. Okay, Game 6 in Pickering. Panthers trailing Wellington 3-2. Another wild one. 4:16 in. Toby Cooper makes it 1-0 for Pickering. The Dukes would tie it at 1, and then in the second, Mitch Mendonca, top shelf baby, and it's 2-1 for Wellington. But then Mitch Doyle off the mad scramble here, he will tie it. The teams would trade goals the rest of the way, leading to overtime once again.
He tips it by a couple men into the Duke zone. He's got a man in front. They score! Andrew Pouliot!
Alex Bloomfield calls it. Cats win, and the series was going back to Wellington for Game 7. Okay, Oakville looking to close out their series against the Canadians in Game 6. Second period, JRC's up 1-0. Thomas Maya knocks it up at 1 apiece. 4 minutes later, though, mad scramble here. Jason Pinio will restore the Canadians' lead right there, and it's 2-1. Third period, the junior Habs add to it on the PP. Matt Redding on the doorstep, and he will make it a 3-1 advantage. But hold on, Bailey Newton gets the comeback started 2 minutes later. He makes it a 3-2 hockey game, and then Matthew Kellenberger has his shot tipped by Callum Jones. All tied up at 3-3. This baby was going to overtime. So many overtime games in round 1 this year. 12:24 in. Zach Bramwell squeezes it past Christian Mattiacci. Blades win. Blades win. They come back to win the game 4-3, and they take the series in 6 games. Hell of a good series, though. Some big swings in this one. Great season by the Canadians, but no doubt they're disappointed. So Oakville advances to take on the Patriots, while the Raiders will face North York in the Southwest. Okay, just a reminder, the OJHL Combine is coming up in April, the 6th, 7th, and 8th, actually, taking place in Oshawa. And this is a great event for young players who can showcase their skills to all OJHL teams. Each player is guaranteed 3 games, and to find out more about the Combine, you can head to OJHLcombine.ca. Alumni update for this week, Jack Jacome, a finalist for the ECAC Rookie of the Year after a fantastic rookie year in Clarkson. Paul Barafano of Buffalo named AHC first team, and Ryan Schmelzer, also of the Junior Sabres, now with Canisius, named to the AHC third team. Congrats, guys. Also, Alex Tonge from Kingston, now with Robert Morris, was named to the AHC third team as well. And Todd Winder of the Newmarket Hurricanes, great sniper and great guy, now with University of Guelph, named the OUA West Rookie of the Year. Congrats to all. Hey folks, welcome back to the OJ today, and as promised, Alan Corkum joins me now via Skype, the play-by-play man for the Georgetown Raiders and broadcaster on your TV. Alan, welcome back, buddy.
Glad to be back on your show. Appreciate you having me, Alex.
Excellent. We're going to break down what happened in the first round, every series so far. We're going to start off in the Southwest because all the series are done there. And the powers that be really flexed their muscles, didn't they, in the Southwest, Alan, with the Pats, the Raiders, and the Rangers all sweeping their series?
Yeah, I thought it'd be a little bit of a tougher situation for both North York and Georgetown with their series, but yeah, they cruised through them as well. The Patriots, not surprisingly, were total domination over the Orangeville Flyers.
Let's start with the series that was a good one. We called this the series of death, of course. Joe Oskarek and I in our playoff preview. That was Oakville versus the JRCs, fourth seed against number 5, and ended up going 6 games. You were there broadcasting a few of them for your TV. In between the benches, of course, you had an up-close view. What did you see?
Yeah, this was a classic smash mouth, in your face, trash talking series, just like the old days, like a Boston, Montreal, in the old Adams division. It was great to see classic hockey turn around. Lots of penalties were called. There were some nasty situations in the series where a few guys got suspended, and I think that's what happened, unfortunately, to the Toronto Junior Canadiens in the series. A couple of big injuries to Jake Joffe and then to their starting goalie, Dalton Ewing. They just couldn't overcome that adversity with so many players out via suspension and injury.
And one of the big boys who got suspended, and there's a flip side to that, he was absolutely dominant. I think scouts were hoping to see McBain put up a few points and exert his dominance. The potential first-round pick. He did that 9 points in just 4 games before being suspended for those last 2 games. I believe it was due to a head infraction, a headshot that happened. But, I mean, you were there for that. What were your impressions of what you saw from McBain? And he obviously upped his game, didn't he?
Absolutely, Alex. Yeah. He has very immense talent, does McBain. He had 9 points in 4 games, 4 games, fortunate headshot. In Game 4, he got suspended for the last couple of games. He couldn't even be out there for the last 2 games to try to help his team win. Kudos to Toronto for bouncing back after a 6-0 loss in Game 5 to send it to overtime in games they couldn't. One thing for McBain, though, I think he has a little bit too much youthful exuberance. I don't know if the scouts will see it that way, but I know after he scored the game-winning goal in Game 3, I was in between the bench. He came over and celebrated a little bit too much, I would say, in front of the Oakville bench. Maybe no Christmas cards coming his way from the Blades this Christmas.
Youthful exuberance, we'll call it, but I think the scouts probably don't even mind the edge there either. So Jack, unfortunately, missed the last 2 games, but great performance overall. Let's move on to the Patriots, the number 1 seed, the inaugural Brandt Snow Trophy winners as the OJHL overall regular season champions. Utter dominance, there's no other word for it, up against the unfortunate Orangeville Flyers, who I love how they play as a team, but they were just overwhelmed, weren't they? Outscored 25-1 in a 4-game sweep.
Yeah, it wasn't even close, unfortunately, Alex, but a good learning experience for Justin Teagle and the Orangeville Flyers. You know, that 4-game sweep were outmatched in every category, but hopefully that's a good stepping stone towards next year because they'll have a good young team back. The Patriots are going forward this year, and they showed. And even Andrew Petrucci, the league scoring champion, only had 5 points in the series. That shows the depth that this team has going forward. And Tyler Fassel was great in goal, 0.25 goals against, 3 shutouts, I should say, so only 1 goal out in the series. I feel bad for the Oakville Blaze in the second round.
Yeah, just so many weapons on that Patriots squad. 25-1, they outscored them in that series. Let's move to another sweep. All 3 other series were sweeps. Georgetown going up against the St. Mike's Buzzers. I think we thought this one was going to be tighter than it was, but really, aside from the opening game, which the Raiders blew a lead and had to go to overtime, other than that, they were dominant in the other 3, weren't they?
Yeah, I would agree 100%, Alex. Yeah, the first game was back and forth between the 2 squads, and Georgia pulling out the overtime victory, and that seemed to take the wind out of the sails of the Buzzers. A big series for Brendan D'Agostino, 4 goals and 4 assists, so he started to step it up a little bit. As did the 5-year veteran Andrew Corr, coming back from the Buckland Cup champion team last year. He had 7 points in the first round. Yes, they really did dominate after that first game. Even that 2-0 game in Game 2, where it didn't look like much on the scoreboard, they did dominate that game and end up the victory. And Tim Pano was strong in that as well.
Were you a little surprised you didn't see more pushback from St. Mike's in this series, or were they just overwhelmed by Georgetown? The Raiders were just too much for them.
I thought there'd be a little bit more pushback from St. Mike, especially with that the Dylan and Ty, the Jackson twins. They had a great season as well. Cameron Searle's the captain. Lots of scoring there. I know Georgia had struggled a little bit to score the last going off in the season. I thought they might get a game, maybe even 2 in this series, but just Georgetown just too strong. They finally got some Raiders hockey playing in this series.
Yeah, and, well, let's move to the final series now. And, you know, Buffalo, for most of the season, played they were a strong team, but they did not enter the playoffs on a good note, losing 9 of their last 11, and that down streak just kind of continued into the postseason, didn't they, as they go out 4 straight to the Rangers? Yeah, it wasn't very close for Buffalo. They had a good first game. They took North York to overtime game up, but the same thing happened as did for St. Mike's against Georgetown. They lost that game, and then it seemed like it was all North York from there. Great series for Noah Jordan, 8 points in that series, and another good goaltending battle as both Colby Muse and Jed Alexander got in there, and they were both stellar in goal for Buffalo, stymieing the Sabres in the other 3 games of that series. Yeah, and now we're left with the Final Four in the conference, and that is going to be the Rangers against the Raiders, which is going to be unbelievable, and Oakville taking on the Patriots. Just give us a little taste of what you think the semifinals are going to be like, Alan.
Oh, I think it's going to be amazing, Alex. I feel bad for the Oakville Blades. I mean, they have a good young team, but I just don't think they're going to be able to match up with the Patriots. They're too strong, too fast this year. You never know what could happen in a 7-game series, but I would take Toronto in that one. But the Georgetown North York series, I think you flip a coin for this one. This is going to be a great one. I think it's going to come down to a full 7 games. These two teams are strong. The Raiders won the season series 3-1, but the last game they met in January, the North York Rangers shut out the Raiders 3-0 up in Georgetown, so you never know what could happen. And I think Mark DePano is a wild card in this series. He's a strong goaltender, but he loves to go out and play that puck. And I know against North York in that game, he came out, gave the Ranger a gift and a goal.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at the Northeast. More OJ today. Coming back in just a minute. Hey folks, welcome back to the OJ Today. I continue to be joined by OJ broadcaster Alan Corkum as we move now to the Northeast Conference, and this segment is going to be a little shorter because, the joys of doing a studio show on a Monday. We've got a couple series that still need to finish. After Alan and I finish talking about this, I'm going to show highlights from the remaining 2 series, so stick with us. But Alan, let's start with Markham against Newmarket. Markham entered the playoffs on a bit of a downer. I believe they'd lost 7 of their last 10 heading into the playoffs. They actually showed well against Newmarket, though. Newmarket just too much in the end, pushing them, getting taken to 6 games, but taking the series overall.
Yeah, big series win by the Hurricanes, as expected by a lot of people. But Markham gave them more of a fight than they thought, and it was the return of Alex Irulo, the leading scorer, came back after that injury on Family Day. He really boosted the offense there. I think he had 5 goals in the series. That was great to see as well. And then what can you say about, as you like to call him, Captain Kirk, Fraser Kirk, a great series. 1.62 goals against, 1 shutout in the series clincher, 3-0 against Markham. So a great series for them. But the Royals, I think, were dogged by some of their big players not stepping up. Lucas Gundon, I should say, only had 3 assists in the series. And then Jack Jeffers, another leading scorer of theirs, was injured during the series. So a couple of big guns not performing well.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, no doubt. But let's move to the Cobourg series here. And you know what? Joe Washkarak a couple weeks ago called the upset. I don't think any of us imagined it was going to be in this fashion. No, they beat the Kingston V's in 5 games. What a series by Cobourg. And they have just been playing like an entirely different team since Jerome Dupont came on as head coach in early November.
Oh, for sure, Alex. Yes, they have. We actually got the pleasure of watching him in Georgetown back in late December, just before Christmas, and it was a 2-1 hard-fought win for the Raiders. And since that point, Cobourg have just been on fire. A big stretch ahead, and they led right into the playoffs with a 5-game win over the Kingston V's. It was total domination, but it was a balanced attack by Jerome Dupont's squad. And here he had Connor McEachran and Porter, Suzuki, all had 6 points each, so it was a big scoring by committee for the Cougars. And then they were led by a former Trenton Goldnog with Dupont, Elliot Girth in goal, standing on his head for Cobourg to lead into this series. And they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in that Northeast Conference.
They absolutely are. And just before we go to harken back to what you mentioned about Irulo, they didn't know how long he was going to be out for. He missed the last week and a half of the regular season after taking a headshot in Stouffville. So they were concerned they were going to be without their leading scorer for an undetermined amount of time. So great stuff for them. He returned in the second game.
Yeah, that was good for Irulo to come back like that as well, and he's been a big force for Newmarket all season long. And yeah, you didn't know how long he's going to be out, because sometimes those head injuries, you don't know if it's going to be a week or it could be a month, but luckily for Newmarket, he got back at the right time, and he's leading him to the second round, and we'll see what happens from there. We will see, and we're going to update everyone as we go along with the show as to what happened here. But Alan, thank you for lending your expertise, buddy. I'll see you out there at the rink. Pleasure to be on here, Alex. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Game 7, Panthers at Dukes Wellington. Just too much now. 2:43 in. Jackson Arcand makes it 1-0 for the Dukes of Wellington. 13 seconds before the break. Dawson Ellis just turns on the Jets here. Blows by everyone. and he makes it 2-0 for the home squad after 20 minutes of play. This young Pickering team, though, as they did all year, just refused to die. Nice feed here to Andrew Pouliot, who pots one behind Tyler Richardson to cut the deficit in half. Wellington would grab 2 more in the frame, though. Bad luck for Ethan Langevin here. Jackson Arcand banks it in from the brutal angle. And the Dukes were back up by 2. And then Anthony Rinaldi also gets it in from a weird spot here. Langevin so solid in this series, too. Tough luck. Wellington in full control after 40, leading 4-1. Third, though, Andrew Hughes with one of the plays of the week. Dipsy Doodle Dandy. And he beats Richardson with the gorgeous goal. Panthers back to within 2 goals, but the Dukes end all hope soon after. Graham McCrory with the sweet solo effort here and gets it out front to Ben Evans for the dagger. And they would add 1 more for a 6-2 final. So the Dukes of Wellington take the series 4-3. What a back and forth affair it was. Watch out for Pickering next year, though, as they have as many as 20 players returning. So here's how it breaks down in the Northeast Conference. Aurora over Trenton in 6 games. Wellington over Pickering, as you just saw, in 7. Newmarket over Markham, and Cobourg over Kingston. The next round will be Wellington taking on Newmarket. Aurora against the Cobourg Cougars. Should be 2 great series. The Southwest, the Patriots over Orangeville in 4 straight. Georgetown does likewise against St. Mike's. North York does the same to Buffalo. Oakville Junior Canadians, Blades taken in 6. So it's the Raiders and Rangers, the Patriots in the Blades in the conference semifinals. Okay, the top 5 brought to you by Chaos, the official hat provider to the Ontario Junior Hockey League. Number 5, Oakville's Anthony Aguano doing all the heavy lifting here before dishing it off for Spencer Kirsten, and he will put it home. The Blades taking that series in 6 games. Number 4, Anthony Luciani doing some heavy lifting of his own here. A great effort to get the puck to Jacob Cuffley, 2 tied up against Newmarket. Canes took the series, of course, in 6. Number 3, Pickering's Andrew Hughes making mincemeat of the Wellington defense, going right through them. Panthers actually dominating the top 3 spots this week because number 2, Pickering keeper Anthony Langevin taking the top 2 spots this week. He stretches to make the amazing save here from in tight in the number 1. One of the saves of the year. Colin Doyle, nobody within a country mile of him. Langevin stays with him the whole way. That is gorgeous. It's robbery, and that is definitely our Chaos play of the week. And we've got to run all out of time for this week, folks. But remember to keep up to date with the OJHL playoffs. All the news, the stats, and the scores, you can always head to ojhl.ca. And of course, you've got all your social media options to check out there as well. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll see you next week.